She used to stand in the mirror, scrubbing her face, begging her skin to go back to normal. But today, that same skin is displayed in museums, celebrated on magazine covers, and helping girls across the world feel seen. This is the story of Lily James, the girl who turned her pain into a paintbrush and her scars into strength. Welcome to Uplifting Moral Stories, stories that heal, inspire, educate, and empower. Let's begin. At just 14, Lily James believed beauty came with conditions: flawless skin, filtered smiles, and fitting in. So when pale patches started appearing on her face, she didn't just lose pigment, she lost her confidence, her friendships, and almost her will to show up. She was called names in the hallway, stared at like a sideshow. Even teachers who were supposed to protect her just looked away. For Lily, school became survival and mirrors, her battlefield. But the same girl who once cried herself to sleep would go on to stand in front of thousands, sharing art so powerful it made other girls finally feel seen. This is the story of how one girl turned pain into paint and reclaimed her identity, one canvas at a time. Lily James used to love mornings. She was the kind of girl who tested new lip gloss colors in front of the mirror and danced while brushing her teeth. But that changed the day she noticed the first spot, an irregular patch, barely the size of a coin, just beneath her right eye. At first, she thought it was dry skin. Then it spread. By the time it reached her lips and chin, the doctor called it vitiligo. But her classmates had another name for it: cow face. Now every morning was war. She'd pull her hoodie tight over her head, avoiding her reflection. She'd dab foundation over the spots, too much for her age, but it never fully covered them. And as the mirror stared back, Lily would whisper the same question: why me? It wasn't just about skin, it was about identity. She no longer recognized the girl looking back. Hallways became a daily gauntlet. It started with the whispers, soft enough to make her paranoid, loud enough to sting. Did she dip her face in bleach? She looks like a glitch in a video game. Sometimes they pulled out their phones and snapped pictures behind her back. The hallway erupted with laughter. Every day she told herself she wouldn't cry this time. But the tears always came later, in the restroom, or behind the dumpsters where no one could see her. What hurt more was the silence of adults. Teachers who saw it all said nothing. Guidance counselors who handed her pamphlets, but never asked what it felt like to be laughed at for existing. Lily wasn't just being bullied, she was being erased. Lunchtime was supposed to be a break. But for Lily, it was just another reminder of where she didn't belong. She started skipping the cafeteria altogether, choosing instead the empty art room at the back of the school. The only sound was the hum of fluorescent lights and the gentle scratch of pencil on paper. In her sketchbook, she created a world where she was in control. She drew faces, perfect ones, smooth skin, symmetry, smiles that didn't crack. One afternoon, as she shaded the cheekbones of a girl who looked nothing like her, her art teacher, Mr. Evans, walked in quietly. He stood behind her for a moment, then leaned closer. "Why don't any of these look like you?" Lily's hand froze. Her throat tightened. She'd never told anyone, not even her mom, how much she hated the mirror. "Because nobody wants to see this." She tugged her hoodie further over her face. Mr. Evans didn't scold her. He didn't pity her either. He just placed a fresh canvas on the table and said, "Maybe that's exactly why they need to." Lily didn't answer him. But that night, for the first time in weeks, she opened a new page in her sketchbook and looked at her reflection, not with shame, but with curiosity. That night, Lily opened her laptop and typed a word she had never wanted to say out loud: vitiligo. She expected scary images, ugly labels, hopeless statistics. But what she found changed something deep inside her. There were models, activists, artists, all with the same skin condition. Some had full body depigmentation, Others, like Lily, had patches that danced across their faces like abstract art. She read about Winnie Harlow, a fashion icon who turned her skin into a statement. She learned that vitiligo affects 1 in 100 people worldwide, that it isn't contagious, and that it's not caused by poor hygiene, contrary to what the bullies said. The condition, she discovered, happens when the body's immune system mistakenly attacks its own pigment cells. But for the first time, Lily saw something more important than the science. She wasn't alone. She wasn't broken. She was rare, and there was power in that. The next day in art class, Lily stared at the blank canvas Mr. Evans had given her. Her fingers hovered over her paintbrush. The fear crept in. What if they laughed? What if they hated it? Then she thought of the women she saw online, unapologetic, unfiltered, unafraid. And she began to paint, not a perfect girl, not a flawless face, but her Lily with soft brown eyes, frizzy curls, and yes, the white patches that shaped her. Like a map of survival, she painted every line, every detail, no edits, no erasure. By the time the bell rang, a girl stood on the canvas, not hiding, not ashamed, just bold. A week later, Mr. Evans entered Lily's painting into the school's Voices of Youth showcase. She didn't want him to. She was terrified. But he told her theater art isn't just for hiding, it's for being heard. Showcase night. Her painting stood beside superheroes, sunsets, cityscapes, but hers, people stopped. Some tilted their heads, some leaned in close. A girl with acne scars whispered to her mom, "She looks like me." A boy with a prosthetic leg stared, then smiled. No one laughed. No one mocked. For the first time, people were seeing Lily, not her condition, not her hoodie, not her story. That night, Lily learned .net nature the day thin. When you dare to show your true self, you give others permission to do the same. Lily stared at her phone screen. Her thumb hovered over post. A photo of her beside her self-portrait. No hoodie, no makeup to hide the spots. Just her and her art. Her heart raced. What if the bullying followed her online? What if they mocked her again? But then she remembered that girl at the art show, and she realized it wasn't about approval anymore. It was about truth. She pressed post. The likes came slowly, then comments, not trolls, strangers. "I've never seen someone who looks like me. Thank you for being brave, girl, Wisconsin. I have vitiligo too. I thought I was a mistake. You made me feel human. Boy, Manchester." Lily sat in silence, tears sliding down her cheeks, not from shame this time, but relief. Her story wasn't just hers anymore. It belonged to everyone who had ever felt invisible. But growth comes with growing pains. As her art spread, so did attention. Not all of it was kind. Some mocked her again, trying too hard. Seeking attention, it's just skin. One afternoon, a note slipped into her locker. "You'll never be pretty, no matter how many people pretend you are." It hit hard. For a moment, Lily wanted to disappear again. She questioned everything. Was it worth it? Did her story really matter? But then, she looked at her inbox. Hundreds of messages from kids, from adults, thanking her for her courage. People who had never spoken about their skin conditions, their scars, their differences until now. And Lily understood something crucial. Not everyone would understand her journey, but those who needed her story, they were listening. That week, Lily sat alone in the cafeteria, her usual spot by the window. But this time, someone walked over. Tiffany, a soft-spoken girl with big curls and a warm smile. She didn't ask questions, she didn't stare. She just sat down, opened her notebook, and said, "You're painting." It was beautiful. Lily blinked. No one had said that to her before, not like that. She mumbled a thank you, unsure what to do next. But Tiffany kept showing up every day at lunch, with a smile, with stories, with acceptance. And slowly, Lily began to believe. Maybe she wasn't invisible after all. And for the first time in a long time, she laughed out loud, not nervously, not apologetically, but freely, and slowly with each shared lunch and story. Tiffany helped remind Lily of something she had forgotten. She was more than her spots. She was seen. She was accepted. She was enough. But the journey didn't stop there. Lily knew then it was all worth it. Over the next few months, Lily painted more. Portraits girls with birthmarks, burn scars, acne, vitiligo. She started an Instagram page called Visible and uploaded one painting every week. It didn't take long before the world took notice. Local bloggers featured her. Then a major magazine featured her work. Within a year, her paintings were hanging in a New York City museum, a collection titled Portraits of Power. She gave TEDx talks, led workshops in schools. And in every single speech, she began with the same words. I used to scrub my face, wishing it would disappear, but now I paint it. So others will finally feel seen. Her story became more than art. It became a movement. A year later, Lily stood in front of her very first solo gallery exhibit, unmasked. The room was filled with faces. Not perfect ones, but powerful ones. Faces with vitiligo, with scars, with truth. Local media called her the girl who redefined beauty. Teachers brought their students. Parents brought their children, kids who had spent their whole lives trying to blend in, now proudly pointing to portraits that looked like them. And in one corner stood Lily's very first self-portrait. Right beside it, a new painting, a version of herself, smiling, fierce, hoodie down, spots glowing like constellations. She didn't just reclaim her identity, she gave it wings. Late one evening, Lily sat by her window, a pen in hand. She wasn't painting. She was writing to the girl she used to be, the one who hid behind hoodies, the one who cried in the bathroom, the one who believed her worth faded. With every new white patch, her hand trembled slightly as she wrote, asterisk, asterisk, dear me, you thought the world would never accept you, but the truth is you never needed their permission. Your skin isn't broken. It's article, it's history. It's proof that you've survived every cruel word and kept showing up. Keep going, because one day, your story will be the reason someone else doesn't give up. Asterisk, asterisk. She folded the letter and placed it in a journal labeled "It Beginnings." Lily didn't stop painting. But now she was also speaking. Schools invited her to talk about bullying, self-worth, and skin health. Dermatologists used her work in awareness campaigns. She wasn't just an artist anymore, she was an advocate. And she didn't just talk about vitiligo, she talked about visibility, about being enough, about turning wounds into windows. At one event, a mother hugged her through tears. Her daughter had vitiligo too, and for the first time, she had stopped covering her face. She said if someone like Lily could be proud, maybe she could too. That's when Lily understood this was never just about her. For her graduation project, Lily painted a mural on the side of her school building, a girl with skin like stardust, arms outstretched, surrounded by radiant, diverse faces, and above them, bold letters read, "We don't hide, we rise." As students walked by, something changed, the whispers faded, the stares softened, and new stories began, stories where difference wasn't feared, but celebrated. Lily stood before the wall, hands stained with paint, heart full. Her spots didn't make her less. They made her visible. They made her powerful. Vitiligo doesn't steal beauty, it reveals it. Bullying doesn't define you, what you do next does. Your scars, your differences, your truths, they're not shameful. They're your superpower. If you or someone you know is struggling with bullying, low self-worth, or visible differences, don't hide. Speak, create, share, because someone out there is waiting for your story to set them free. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below if this story touched you. Let's rewrite beauty together, one voice at a time.